everyone. Welcome to Push Your Luck video. Today, my name is Eric. Today we're looking at Mysterium. Alright, so a lot of you have heard about Mysterium. This is a new hotness from right now coming out from Poland. Alright, Apollo Games is the one that's carrying it and will be distributing it in I think Europe. You can buy it directly from their website. I think it will be coming out in 2015 by a US publisher. So I'm not very sure who is going to bring it in, but I think there will be a different set of art and different and English rules, obviously. But you can definitely buy the Polish version right now, and it's still playable. So in a nutshell, what Mysterium is about is that imagine that you are a psychic investigator, and you and your fellow psychic investigators are going to this haunted house, and there's a spirit there. You encounter a spirit there, and you're trying to help the spirit to identify who the culprit is. Now, each of your psychic investigators have sort of a premonition or sort of a vision where you know a specific identity of a person, a suspicious person there, as well as the item and the location. So during the 7 days that you are there, you are trying to decipher, each of you are trying to decipher your own vision, find out who the item, the culprit, as well as the location is, and then at the end you'll switch to another phase where all the psychic investigators are trying to work together to then find out who the main culprit is out of these characters, suspicious characters that you have identified. Alright, place 2 to, I think it's 2 to 7. Alright, it's a cooperative game, so one player will be playing the spirit, which will give clues in terms of dixit-like cards with which are in the form of dreams. Right, so the cards will have pictures just like Dixit, and then the psychic investigators will then need to look at these cards and then try to decipher which item or which location or which identity the dreams that the spirit is giving them are trying to tell. Let's go and hear what some of my other classmates have said about this game.
Yeah, I've only played 4 times.
Do you think this is played?
I mean, compared to how much
this will be played best with a lot of players, or
I think with more players is fun. I think scalable, right?
I mean, the part of it that we liked was being able to debate with each other over like what the choices were. So if you had a smaller group, you wouldn't get as much of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect gameplay, but it affects the
dynamic.
Yes, just the interaction.
Was it?
Because I'm thinking because
I'll just watch it.
If you've got more players, you're going to eliminate categories faster, so people that don't get it can figure it out easier. But at the same time, that's counterbalanced by the fact you're more likely to run into conflict over.
And you're more likely to have
I think we both have this card. Which one of us actually has this card?
So or like, there's no way that's the cave. That's like.
Was it fun for you watching us play?
Yeah, it was funny because I saw you struggle a lot.
she likes it when you struggle.
Measure of a good game is whether or not
these games are good spectator games because you can participate in it as a spectator almost as much as someone who's actually playing the game, and you can like sit around. You can watch a bunch of people struggle and be idiots rather than like. If people are like playing Pandemic and you're spectating, it's kind of less interesting.
And you didn't know the answer as well, right?
No, I didn't. So I was playing.
Yeah,
so like once I got in and I saw what was the gist of the game, I actually sat there. I was like, oh, maybe it's this. So I kind of hopped in after.
She contributed a couple times.
I mean, that's the thing. Is I really feel like
I think it's this. I think it's
there is like no maximum player limit because having Tamrah just not have a person wasn't really a big difference to like having me have a person.
People can team up together.
Yeah, we can play it.
Just kind of nice.
Let's try.
Just like what you were saying about the disconnect between the two phases of the game just now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the disconnect is just the only reason that final phase is there is so there is this like kind of climactic moment of let's figure out who the murderer is. But
I mean, it's not really climactic though.
Well, it's there to try and be climactic, but yeah, you're right. That's the point is that it fails miserably.
Because you also don't like decipher what is the actual item.
Because there's literally
why is the item tiny.
The cards.
It's a lot easier to give the...
there's not a whole lot of detail on many of these character cards either.
I just feel like a lot of it is like a more complicated version of Dixit, and I'm not quite sure why.
Okay.
You know, I like the co-op element of it, but like having the multiple phases, the phases didn't feel that different. It felt like, you know, the same kind of thing.
I mean, I think the phases are just fine for just dividing up what you're trying to solve right now, so that you don't have like an overwhelming amount of information that you're trying to figure out.
Right.
I mean, the culmination stuff is just
Yeah. I don't like that. Yeah, I also don't like that this isn't determined beforehand. because like it feels like if you're it feels awkward that you're shuffling and then it's like now it's this one and that was the right one all along. As opposed to, like, you could have just
thematically it's a bit
picked,
strange,
like you
right?
could have
Oh,
just
yeah,
picked
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like if there was just another set of these, you could have just picked that at the beginning.
But,
and it could have just
but
been
that's to
sitting
do
there the
with
whole
the climactic problem. Like literally all the work that you did leading up to the climax has no effect on the climax.
Yeah, exactly.
The climax is totally
Yeah.
separate from all the work you did in the rest of the game, so it's not satisfying. It doesn't feel like you achieved.
Sounds like something what Eric was
Yeah.
saying.
We're all so well trained.
That's the thing Wyatt did a really good job. Wyatt, as the ghost, did a really good job of like knowing the details on the cards without checking during gameplay. But like for me, I would have forgotten things like, I don't know, whatever's up in the corner of this guy.
Oh, he looked at it. He had the card in front of him to
Did you
compare.
pick up the ones off
Well,
the
he
table?
gets
though?
it.
No,
from-
he gets it.
I tested them a couple times.
But you do have to look at the rest to make sure there's no
Like conflicts, yeah.
correct.
I feel like I would end up giving it away through that.
Okay.
Were I playing the ghost.
Yeah, I think that, like the first time I was playing the Ghost, a lot of them went by color team.
Okay,
Right,
a lot,
right.
yeah.
They were all saying, "Oh, that card looks like the color team," but we didn't do that. We didn't like look at the color team. But we just trying to look at the individual items. Yeah, it's quite
It's a
interesting.
problem-
The different.
It's a problem
groups,
with
yeah.
all of these games, this kind of game, that it's heavily dependent on
Thinking
whoever's playing
similarly.
the ghost or the clue giver or whatever that role is
Yeah.
called in the game, with how good the game is. That they can kind of unconsciously, without trying to, they can give a lot of clues away on accident that can ruin the experience or that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, you did a good
It's-
job of
yeah,
not
it's-
doing that with John's clue.
Okay.
must be the ghost's fault.
You worked your hardest to not give away.
Yeah.
Yeah, because unlike Dixit, a lot of times Dixit is about knowing the person. For example, it's like, oh, I like this band, and then my clue is related to the band. But this one is it takes away that personal element, right? Which sometimes is good and bad in Dixit, right? Because
I don't know, this was a pretty personal element. It's an inside joke to get
it just happened just before.
Yeah.
For example, if let's say I know Alex very well, we are good pals, and then the rest of us are not, it became kind of splits us apart. In Dixit, it happens, right? Whereas this one is it takes that away, and you just play based on what you see.
Correct.
So it's good and bad.
So strangers can still play this, and yeah,
But if Dixit, everyone knows each other very well, it's very interesting.
yeah.
I wonder how the replayability is on this though, because if you're just basing it off the cards, like, are you going to get to points where like people look at a certain item on one of those pictures as opposed to the picture in total?
But it depends on the spirit, though. I mean, it depends on what the spirit
and
is.
when
Yeah.
the spirit of the
draw
game.
it,
Like,
right?
I mean, you
This
can
spirit of the
game.
This clue is
The
awesome
spirit
for
of how
this,
you're trying to play the
Yeah.
game.
but
Because-
isn't necessarily good for a lot of
Like-
them.
But like, it could also be good in the location.
yeah,
things for that
It's
one,
good, really
obviously.
good for those two.
The one I shuffled
This
away
clue
was
might actually
this.
just be too bad.
Was this for the people at the end?
I had a shuffle to give
For
me
this
this
guy,
card,
for this
Oh
guy.
yeah.
but the last
So you would have been
Setup.
trying to get the eye patch guy with this. I mean, that would have been tough even then.
Yeah.
That's a maybe right there.
there's also a military guy, which
Yeah.
could be a bit
Well, this,
confusing.
this one's weird.
This one has some mechanical stuff, but
Right.
also there's a church lady.
Yeah, if you
Oh,
gave
yeah, I
us
definitely would've gone
these
church lady
two,
on that
we
one.
might have gotten it. But that's
Not
this
super
is
likely.
definitely
Yeah,
more
kinda
obvious
knows better.
than those two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one looks a lot like the church lady though.
Then there are two people with
But
maps.
what I mean is, if you had
Because they're together.
if you had these two together,
Yeah.
I don't think we would have.
Okay.
It would have been a
picked,
chance. Yeah, it would have been a chance.
So this one is like more map-like, and then there are two people with maps. I forgot
Yeah,
their
there's
word.
the sailor.
no, that's
no,
the
but
round
he was
before.
never
That was the
picked,
round
so he
before.
couldn't be it.
Sorry, that was
Yeah.
the round before. Sorry. Yeah.
Do you think it's more fun to play as a spirit
It's
right now?
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Both. I think both
feel- it seems
it's
like
quite
you have a
well
lot of-
balanced. It's not one is a lot more fun than the other. They have different skills and it's still quite fun.
What about
Um,
the downtime? 'Cause it seemed like you had a lot of downtime, just kind of like sitting there and watching us.
There's a lot of pressure on you
talk.
to
Yeah.
give us the right
Oh.
clues.
Looking at you guys
Was it like the
discuss it, it also
spectator
gives me
thing?
information on how I should play. It's like,
yeah.
what is your train of thought? Do I want to change your train of thought, or do I want to continue on in that line?
The really
Yeah,
close.
doors are open,
guys.
Get these idiots to figure out what I mean.
The flow is quite good. 6 cards is easy to manage.
Yeah.
The only thing is the cards are really big, and if I want to hold one card here and then I got to check the 9 cards, sometimes it's a bit too.
I think
Yeah.
the cards
It's
have
just
to
the
be
cards
that
that-
big.
yeah.
Yeah,
for
like,
the level
because of the
details.
information inside. Yeah.
But
also-
other than the size of the cards, which I think is quite necessary, it's quite fine. Quite fine for the goals.
Game length is also good. I think we were just about at the point
But this
where I
took
was
us like half an
happy
hour?
with it, not
Yeah.
tired of it yet,
Yeah.
but would have been soon.
Well, it's because there's a hard limit on it. You've
Yeah.
got a fair amount of pressure of we need to get this done, which keeps it moving along.
Everyone everyone got through the first round, right, with the weapons.
First try.
Yeah.
I think we all got our. No, we had like 2 guesses for Eric's person, but then everybody else also got their person
First
on one
time.
guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder how much harder it is in the more difficult one where you can't reach.
You get more cards.
Sounds.
You get more cards to choose from. Yeah.
Oh, there's more on the table?
Yeah,
We
more
can
on
still
table.
discuss that, right?
You can discuss. Yeah.
It's going to take up so much space because
Yeah,
we have a
correct.
fairly large
Well,
table
then,
here,
yeah,
and it was
space.
pretty crowded.
There's the variant where we cannot show the dream cards. We need to discuss. Like, I had a dream about Umbrella, so I think that's it.
Oh,
yeah.
when
I actually
you
think that
discuss
could be
it.
pretty fun
Yeah.
too.
That would be good, yeah.
Okay, so it's more of the individual skill then.
Yeah,
It's like
correct.
How you describe
And like finding all the minor details.
Correct.
and stuff.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
That's actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it goes, for example, if you play the very hard one, you cannot wash your hand.
Okay.
So you must play with the 6 cards that you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You play super hardcore dream mode where you only get to look at the cards and then you hide them and can't look at them again. Just have to remember what your dreams were.
Thematically, it makes more sense, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
it's
because
a
the dream is personal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
You have to remember your
You're
dreams.
trying to describe your dream.
But I mean, if we're all psychic, then we can just see each other's dreams.
You don't even have to be in the house. Not only are you describing it as a dream, but it's also as a detective, right? You're supposed to sift out the details and then collectively discuss rather than everyone just sees it and discuss. I think that makes more sense. Actually, might be more fun.
Yeah.
So to me, it is quite an interesting game. It kind of flips Dixit on a different side. It plays Dixit slightly differently. It plays well with a big group. There's a lot of discussion that can happen. I think some of the variants that have been suggested, for example, you can try to instead of showing the dream cards, you will try to describe the dream cards so that the players cannot see exactly what dream cards will make it a bit more thematic. I do say that you have to try it before you buy it. A lot of people have been hyped about it, and it does live up to hype. It's really quite fun. The art is very beautiful. There's a lot of details you can gather from all the art. The card differences are interesting. Like the item cards are very small, and the other location cards and the character cards are very big. I think it's because they want to add a lot of details to the location cards and the character cards. Character cards. So that's why the cards are much more bigger than the item cards, which are very small and don't really have a lot of details. So yeah, to me, it's a try it before you buy it, but it's really quite fun.